Welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends. And I was going to tell Kieran off for yawning last time he was on the show. I would do, but he's on his phone at the moment. Do you not take any interest in this whatsoever?
I mean, Gary Lineker yawns all the time on Match of the Day.
Does he? Does he? Yeah, and he shits on a football pitch, but you don't have to do that, do you?
No, well...
Good. Right, no more yawning, Kieran. Please, I'm not having that.
You should stop doing this in the evening, then. It's been a long day of me travelling, and we always do this late on a Sunday, end of the week.
He's been to Portsmouth, back home, for his music festival this weekend, and so he's tired. Okay. On we go then. What we've got to discuss today, do you think? I'll tell you what we've got to discuss. We've got to discuss Wycombe. Great, I'm back. I went. Good to see good old Wycombe with what do the idiots on the radio call it? A false number 9, I think they call it. In other words, Wycombe's number 9s are all injured. So I don't think they know the difference between not having a number 9 and how you play a number 9 for it to be a false number 9. Can you tell me what you think is a false number 9?
Me, no.
What does that mean?
Someone who's more of a playmaker and is just behind the other two, supposedly.
Yeah, in other words, not a number 9.
No, but he's more attacking than attacking midfielder.
Yeah,
he hasn't got. Well, I mean, it does have defensive responsibilities, but
he don't get in the box enough to score enough goals.
No, but neither does an attacking midfielder. There is a difference between the two.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up. I'll look it up. So we got Wycombe Wanderers with their false number 9s playing because all the number 9s are injured. They drew 1-1 with Charlton, that big team from the Premier League once upon a time. We've also got, I wanted to talk about Sunderland, Mr. Sunderland's manager going. I find that really crazy. Champions League, the Champions League draw was done. But does anybody care this time? Do you care?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because I've got a sneaking suspicion this could be the end of the Champions League and the sort of shine on it. That's what I've got to,
Depends who wins it.
Depends who wins it. What else we got? Oh, bits and pieces. Well, we'll look at 30 plus. Why is everybody buying 30-year-olds and older all of a sudden? It was a no-goer, that was a no-goer, and now they're all doing it. But we'll discuss that. Anyway, off we go then. Wycombe Wanderers. 1-1. You didn't see any of it, did you?
Saw the highlights.
You saw the highlights. The first 10 minutes, I have to be honest, and I thought, this is certainly Division 1 football. Nobody could hold on to the ball. Nobody could pass the ball. Neither team, that is. And then Wycombe seemed to get a grip of it. And Wycombe played really well. And Wycombe took the game over. And as I said, sent you a text saying, we need to score. We need to score. We did score. Another one of those interesting goals. Mehmeti, great goal. It was a good goal. The two McCleary and Mehmeti are excellent up front. They really are good. If only they had a number 9 is what I would say. We really do miss the number 9. You can tackle your way through into that box only a number of times. You won't get away with it every time. But that's the third time Mehmeti has managed to sort of stick one in the net. But I have to say, McCleary, for me, gets all the credit for that goal. I thought he was excellent again.
If he could do it away from home, that would help.
If he could do it away from home, it would help. How bad is he away from home?
From what I've heard, he's absolutely terrible.
And who's told you that? Your mate that goes.
Yeah. Well, the numbers speak for themselves as well, don't they? Because he scores all of his goals at home.
He does. He does. After that, of course, within a minute, they'd gone up the other end and stuck the ball in the net, which was very disappointing.
Crappy goal as well.
Crappy goal. Hardly had enough time to stop cheering. Now, the rest of the game was, I thought, yeah, I'm a Wycombe fan, biased. I thought we were the better team. On the other hand, their goalkeeper didn't have much to do, but nor did ours. And so I think a draw was probably fair enough, is my verdict. Now, on the players, first of all, the goalkeeper, can you pronounce his name for me?
Can't remember his name.
No. He will get it after a few weeks. He needs to learn to kick the ball to a Wycombe footballer. Is the what I haven't had to see him make too many saves, but flip me, every time he has the ball, it does seem that we pass it to the opposition. So he needs to get a hang on how to. But you see, the difference is he's got no big player on the pitch to kick the ball to. So up in the air.
I'm going to call him Stryek.
Stryek. We're going for Stryek. Okay.
Could be wrong, but that's what I'm going for.
Okay, we'll go for Stryek. But of course, the thing is, all he had was Wheeler to kick the ball to in the air, who can win the ball in the air. No number 9. Forwards missing. So he was a bit stuck with that, because kicking the ball out means, you know, in all honesty, it's sort of lacking a bit. Where else to go? Have you got the team there?
Yeah. Grimmer?
Grimmer was awful. Grimmer is awful. I'm sorry, he is awful. We've got to change him. What is he still there for? I don't understand how he's still in our team. I thought he was awful. Farino was excellent. There you go. I will give him full marks. I think he did everything he had to do and a frazzle more. I'll be honest and say there is one bit of his game, and that is he seemed to see everything a second too slow. So he never
seems agile.
No, he does. He's not moving toward the ball and where it's going. He moves after the ball is sort of virtually on the guy's foot. But he's quick and therefore gets away with it and recovers. But who am I to say? Me, can I move? I can't move. I can hardly get up the stairs. So I thought he was excellent. He did a great job. I'll pat him on the back. And I wonder because his mate next to him, Mawson, what, I don't know, which one would I take out?
I would have thought that a partnership of Mawson and Tapazzoli has more potential than a partnership of Farino and Tapazzoli. So we have seen Farino and Tapazzoli before, and it has been a bit sus.
I mean, or could you leave it as it is? Could you play 3 centre backs? Certainly an option.
It's an option. I mean, we did it before and it worked very well, didn't it?
Yeah, and I thought those 3. I mean, we're lacking Grimmer.
I suppose
we're talking about Grimmer and Jacobson.
The problem with a 3 is it requires one of them to have a bit more pace than the others, and none of them are the quickest.
What about the 3 and Jacobson.
What? So you have back four, but with an extra centre left.
Yeah.
I imagine it could.
Could you play with the back three with Jacobson?
You could probably work
as
here because,
an extra,
because I suppose the way you attack is different in the sense that Jacobson is the form of crossing on the left-hand side, and then for the right-hand side, you're more darting the ball to Wheeler to head it on to someone else. So I would have thought it would work a little. It could work a bit better. You'd have to have Mawson on at right back as opposed to Farino because Farino's not quick enough.
Really, because I thought he was pretty nippy on his feet. I thought he was quick.
Well, you said he's a second behind everything.
No, he catches up because he is so quick. What I mean is, I look, and then he goes, and I'm thinking, go, and he gets there because he's quick.
I'm not so sure.
Be interesting to see on a training ground, really. That's something you need to look at on a training ground.
I don't think you do it.
No,
I don't think you do it.
Be a nice way of getting rid of Grimmer. Still, anyway, Jacobson, yeah, he had a reasonable game. Nothing came down his side. You see that everything came down Grimmer's side. They either knew it was a weakness or they just happened to be a bit stronger down that side. Although I have to say, I thought Colchester, what's saying Colchester, Charlton weren't very good, which surprised me a little bit. I was expecting a bit more from them. Like to kick the ball around.
I mean, if they were looking for a weakness, I would have thought after the season so far, Jacobson would be that person.
He would, yeah.
Because he's had a couple of flops in it, but
yeah.
Gape,
excellent. Yeah, again, Gape and Mr. Partner, they're good in there. They're good in there. Couldn't find any fault at all with those two. 100%. Yeah, good. Wheeler, disappointing in the fact that he had to go off because I thought he was excellent as well. The handy thing about him was he was picking up everything in the air down that side, and he was the only one that could really do so, and he did so. He did, and I thought Wheeler was pretty good. Wing, I wish he'd been taken off after 30 minutes. I thought he was a waste of space. I would have far preferred. I mean, on the bench, who could you have changed him for?
Horgan, Freeman.
Yeah, I was thinking of Horgan. I was thinking, why would you have Wing if Horgan is sat there, and Wing he didn't create anything, or
it is the impression that we've gotten so far of him. He hasn't scored many, he hasn't assisted many.
He just seemed in the way all the time. I didn't rate it. I thought
he looks competent on the ball. He looks like he knows what he's doing, but it hasn't quite thrived yet.
I know we put again. Horgan is a pain in the arse because he just won't stick the bloody ball in the net.
That's what it's the same, isn't it?
But I still think we might have got a bit further with Horgan on there, providing the ball. You see, at least Horgan does give the ball. Put the ball around, whereas I didn't think Wing. I don't quite know. I didn't give him much. No, didn't think he was very good.
Mehmeti.
So I'm third goal this season.
I was just going to say that one of our criticisms of him before has been he doesn't get the numbers enough. 3 and 6 is what you'd want.
Yeah, he's doing well, isn't he? He's and I'm interested to note that he's always one of the first to be taken off, is substituted, and I think that's probably a sensible move because he does sort of run out, and so I can understand why. But the damage he does when he's, they're scared of him. The opposition are scared of him, and yeah, he looks good.
And McCleary.
He had a good game. I know he has clangers sometimes, and you never see him. This game, you saw him, and I think the goal that was scored was really his goal. Well played. Yeah, those two work well together, or can do. They're good. And I just, like I keep saying, I think we missed the number 9 though. That is for sure. The damage we could have done, if only. That's what I think. Now, that's been 6 games. And I think on 6 games, we can now look at the table. I don't think you bother beforehand. Same in the Premier League. I mean, you can have a look at it, because if the top team hasn't scored a goal and it's been 4 games, then it's worth having a look at. But this, I think, is worth having a look at now with 6 games in. And you can get an idea of who's going to be up there and who isn't. And here we go. We've got Portsmouth and Ipswich sat on the top with 14 points. Then you got Sheffield Wednesday, Peterborough, Plymouth and Derby. And that's probably not far off of most people's prediction.
I think Portsmouth will drop off.
You think, yeah. But you've got the Ipswich, Sheffield Wednesday, Peterborough and Derby. You've got 4, haven't you, out of all of them? Any that you're a bit surprised about?
Well, we said about MK Dons being crap, and they have picked up 7 points in their last 3 games, so they'll probably pick up a bit more. They're on the same record as us now. Oxford's are still doing a little bit meh. They're on the same wins and losses as us as well. There's actually quite a lot of teams who are on these 7 points, same wins and losses. The bottom 4 is, well, to be honest, the bottom 7 is actually very predictable. Burton, Morecambe, Forest Green, and Cheltenham, like that.
Yeah. Burton have definitely the worst team I've seen.
Yeah.
There's no question. I mean, okay, we did put 3 past them, but they were bad. I mean, and I'm watching the TV programme on whatever it is now, watching them play every week. It's amazing they've got a point, is what I would say. They've done well to get a point. And he has to be the manager that goes next, surely. They're awful. They are. They're the worst. They
lost 4-3 yesterday.
I know.
Cambridge, which
I know. And Cambridge is sat up there at 7th. But like we said before, mind you, 10 points out of 6 games ain't bad. But I think they'll come down.
Yeah.
But Burton, yeah, they're on a -11.
They've lost
goal
3-0.
difference.
They lost 3-0, 4-0. Drew 4-all. Lost 1-0 to Ipswich. 2-0 to Port Vale, which is bad. And lost 4-3 to Cambridge. So the games in which they have a chance, they score a lot, but so do the others.
Yeah. It's, in other words, they're good up front and crap at the back. Well,
they're okay up front and crap at the back.
Yeah. Morecambe down there as well, and Forest Green. Well, again, no surprise there, really. I think we're safe from going down, I'll be honest.
You'd hope so.
And interesting to note where Wycombe are 12th, smack in the middle. And I think, maybe a couple of places up, but I think that's where we're going to be. I think we're going to be mid-table this year, maybe a little bit higher, with a hope of getting in the playoffs and probably not making it. Interesting that, as we said, the MK Dons are exactly the same, and there's all the talk about them being one of the favourites to go up. No, we've discussed why they lost all their players. And Oxford with 7 points as well. So Wycombe, MK Dons, Oxford, all with 7 points. points. Yeah. Derby are annoying me. They're in 6th. Got to beat them in a couple of weeks' time when we go up there. Sheffield Wednesday and Ipswich. You reckon Portsmouth a drop off, do you?
They normally do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the teams they've played so far are particularly. They beat Port Vale, who are near the bottom. Bristol Rovers are average. Cambridge, who are near the bottom.
No, Cambridge are doing all right. They're 7th.
That's a good win. Then they beat Charlton, which is average. Drew to Lincoln, who are near the bottom, and drew to Sheffield Wednesday. So I don't think their record is as brilliant as it may seem.
Okay. Anything else to say on this league? Who we play next?
We are playing Tottenham under 23s or whatever it is.
Under 21s. And the way it came over the tannoy was we hoped to see everybody there.
Yeah.
So they're expecting a crowd of 6,000 there. Are you going?
No.
Oh.
We have Fleetwood on next Saturday away. So you'd hope to pick up a point or 3 there.
Yeah, they're exactly in the same place as us. And actually, where they've got their 7 points was a while ago. Well, they picked up a point on Saturday, lost, drew. I'm going back, so they have not won for 1, 2, 3, 4. They haven't won their last 5 matches. That was one in the EFL Cup, I might add. But yeah, I think there's points to be had there. That's what I think, definitely. I mean, they drew with Morecambe and they drew with Lincoln, both away. They were away, I might add for that. They drew with Cheltenham when they were at home as well. So they seem to have a bit of a problem drawing. So hopefully should pick up at least 8 points, I would hope. So there's points to be had at Fleetwood. Okay, next. Managers leaving. Do you realise we're actually back on that list already? I mean, how sad is that? We've had Stockdale. That is his name. Probably his dad or something. Robbie Stockdale from Rochdale. I think it's Stockdale of Rochdale. I'm sure I've got that right. Stockdale from Rochdale, unless I miswrote something. He's gone. He went last week. And Michael O'Neill from Stoke. Well, that one caused a little bit of a ripple. Why? Because Alex Neil from Sunderland has taken the job. Why?
You'd imagine money, but I would have thought Sunderland would have more than Stoke.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit strange to he's literally just brought them up. I can't imagine Sunderland fans would be very happy about that.
Well, he bought a number of players and he's turning Sunderland into his team. He gets halfway and then bogs off.
He must have a reason for it, but from an outsider's perspective, it doesn't look.
It's not to do with football, is it?
You wouldn't have thought so.
It's got to be something
because he's thrown Sunderland in the mud. Just leaving them so early on.
But if I was a Sunderland fan, I wouldn't be amused.
No.
But it's got to be something personal. So that makes it very. I'm sure one day we'll find out what it was. I'm just trying to look at Stoke. Oh, here we go. He sat and watched them win yesterday from up in the stands. I'm just having a look at their table where Stoke are. You see, Stoke are in. They've got 1 point less than Sunderland. Sunderland are 12th, Stoke are 17th. So there's not a lot of difference between the two.
Did Preston draw 0-0 again?
Why'd you say that?
Because there's only been one goal in the 6 games they've played so far. They won it 1-0. They've drawn 5 0-0.
Oh my lord! Anybody want to go and watch Preston? Well, that'd be easy to predict. Oh dear, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0. And what was the score? 0-0. Blimey! What made you know that?
Well, because it's rare, obviously. I mean, you don't get that whatsoever. I saw it on Twitter somewhere.
So their goal difference is 1, where they won 1-0.
Yeah. You wonder why. Like, are they just super defensive? Or, I don't know. It just could be a bit strange.
Well, the funny thing is, their next match, nobody's going to score either. Because they're playing Coventry, so it won't be played. Because you know that, don't you?
Well, they're not on stadium.
No, it was used in the not Olympics over here, in the Birmingham Commonwealth. They used their Coventry's ground for the Commonwealth and naff-dealed the pitch up.
Nice.
But also, not only did they naff it up, but it's being used for rugby as well. And so the ground isn't good enough to play on. And so Coventry, if you have a look, actually haven't played at home yet. All their games at home have been called off, which is why they're sat at the bottom, having only played 3 games, because all their home games have yet to be played.
I suppose the FA haven't blamed Coventry for that, seeing as they would have just given the points to the other team, wouldn't they?
Well, I don't know who's going to be in the worst spot, really, because all the other teams could jump up and down about it, saying, well, why should we play it another day? But how many games are Coventry going to have to fit in?
Yeah.
They've already got now 3 Tuesdays, extras.
I mean, sometimes they do on a Saturday FA Cup thing if they're already out, but that's dependent.
I mean, that's a strange one. I mean, Coventry fans... I mean, you know,
you'd be pretty peed off, wouldn't you?
Yeah, season ticket, and you can't go and watch your own. So Coventry fans have yet to go and watch unless they go to away games. Strange, isn't it? They would have been fined if it was.
If it was their fault, then something would have happened to them. But evidently, it's.
Why don't they use somebody else's pitch?
Because it's.
There's enough teams knocking around them.
It's easier said than done, I think, at short notice.
Right.
I'd imagine.
Okay, we'll move on then. Move on, and just to say, I'll tell you about the music that you listened to when we started, and there'll be a bit of music halfway through sometime, might be now, might be later, and the music at the end. It's all by a band, of course, that I have used before, but this album that I got only came out the other day. Came out on, where are we going? Came out on the 19th of August, and it's a band called, I've got to try and pronounce this, Esthesis.
Oh dear.
Hey.
That's horrendous, isn't it?
What a dreadful name, isn't it? And the album is called Watching Worlds Collide. They're a strange band, as you might have heard. I don't know. They would describe themselves because they write and sort of say what they think they're playing, which is some bands who write and say they're playing really good music. You disagree a few times. Well, this is progressive and alternative rock. It's a project by a French multi-instrumentalist, and now I'm going to try and pronounce his name, and he won't get back to me because he won't hear it, and that is Aurélien Gaud. The music is characterised by many influences: British rock, film score, jazz, ambient, metal, electro, and primarily based on emotion and ambiences. The new and highly anticipated second album, called Watching Worlds Collide, has been just released. And you can, of course, buy that CD if you look up their website, or buy it on Bandcamp. Have a listen on Spotify if you like it. This I would describe as what Coldplay should be playing if they'd bothered to carry on trying to write new stuff instead of the same song over and over. Okay? That's what I would describe. He doesn't know because he can't hear it or hasn't heard it. But that's how I would describe this music.
But what I'd say is that Coldplay is still pretty successful, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're just writing the same song over and over.
I'm not sure they do.
No, they don't, because it's money. But had they bothered trying to be artistic and to carry on being new, they would have moved on maybe down this sort of where each song is different. And but it's there. Okay, let's move on. I don't have a quiz for Kieran. I wasn't expecting him here today. I didn't find out till about 2:30 that he was coming home. And he couldn't bear the thought of missing out. That's what he's back for. Because what bands are you missing to come back to do this?
Sam Ryder, who was the person who finished second at Eurovision. But
How could you miss that?
as we all described, we would be watching him for 50 minutes for one song.
Was Rag and Bone Man there as well?
No, it was Rag and Bone Man's good.
Name that song, yeah.
Name a few. Sam Fender, who I don't think the viewers of your show will have heard of.
Yeah, you don't know?
I don't know that.
Your show, it's our show.
Is it?
Yeah.
And who else? Anne Marie, who your viewers will definitely not know.
She's gorgeous.
She is quite pretty, yes.
Okay, I'll look her up.
For sure. I missed the Sugar Babes yesterday, unfortunately. That was probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
They're probably in wheelchairs by now, aren't
they? I don't think there would have been much movement on stage.
No.
But in terms of today, that was about it.
Right. And so you chose to come to do this?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I suppose your viewers would know Stereophonics, and if they are...
My viewers? Don't say my viewers.
Our viewers would know Stereophonics, and if you want to see them live, wait until the end for their one song as well.
Yeah.
That's the problem with a lot of these bands. They have one or two songs that are brilliant, and the rest are just like, you're ticking away the hours.
Yeah. Right, we'll move on then. That's your music bit. And we'll move on to Champions League football. Now, I have a problem this year with Champions League football. And that we'll discuss who's playing who. But, of course, this year is different. And what makes this year different is we just don't have enough bloody time to play football. The World Cup gets thrown in there. And is anybody going to be bothered with the European Cup?
Yeah.
The Champions League. You see, just to mention, here we go, okay? On the 6th and 7th of September, match day 1 in the Champions League. 13th, 14th September, 2. 19th, 27th, international break. 4th and 5th of October, match day 3, 11th, 12th of October, 4, 25th, 26th of October, 5, 1st and 2nd of November, 6. Then it's playoff matches before the World Cup. Then it's World Cup. Then it's World Cup. Then Premier League returns.
What do you mean playoff matches?
Sorry.
Final Premier League games before.
Yeah. So it's just sticking it in there.
Normally,
and it's just crammed in there. These players are not going to want to get injured.
That's by the time that they would. This year they completed 6 Champions League games. It would normally have been 3.
Yeah. In other words, we're not just cramming in Premier League, and the Champions League has sort of floated past, and you have the occasion, feels like the occasional game, and it's exciting, and that music that nobody knows the lyrics to.
Lasagna.
Yeah, lasagna. This time we don't have time for it. So we're going to shove it all in a pocket. You're all playing the Premier League. We've got the Champions League, but the World Cup. No, Champions League. No, World Cup. And it's going to do that. And I think it's not going to count so much this time. I don't think anybody cares. I have a football calendar list. Now, I'm not going to go through it. I've got it all colour-coded on here. But if you look at it, I'll just show him, all right? So you can see that. You see, and what a bloody mess that is. Okay. Nobody's going to know whether they're coming or going. It's bad enough in League One with the little under 21s cut games on a Tuesday and stuff that nobody's interested in. And I just think.
Tell you what. I don't think Jurgen's going to be very happy, is he?
No. Well, no player is. They're going to be terrified of breaking a leg. And, which are you going to risk breaking a leg for? The Premier League, the Champions League, or the World Cup?
I mean,
if you were a player, which one is it that's going to count?
World Cup, I'd imagine.
So you're going to keep yourself ready for the World Cup?
The players don't do that. The managers might, but the players go into every game wanting to play every game. The managers might rest him here and there. But it is ridiculously cramped and Pogba's already injured. That's such a shame to not see him at the World Cup. Not that he would have turned up anyway.
No.
And there'll be plenty of players who will drop out because of it as well. There'll be injuries.
Yeah. I just think this is mad, okay? I think this is mad. I think football is an entertainment, and to make it entertaining, they need the players to be fit and healthy as much as possible. Otherwise, it drags. And also, there can be too much. But we'll go to the next stage of this Champions League, and we're going to look at the groups, because they did do. Do you know who's in whose group? Yeah. I don't know whether everybody watches this. Knows, I don't know. The shame of it is I think this year it's been one of the better years for who they've taken out of the hat.
Yeah.
Actually, it's going to be more interesting this year. I wish the World Cup and go and shove itself, to be honest, so we could enjoy this a little bit more, because
it's never normally this cramped with teams.
No. If we have a quick look at which ones we think are going to be interesting. Group A, Ajax, Liverpool, Napoli and Rangers. Now,
thing is, the bottom teams, the ones in pot 4 who get drawn out, normally they're supposed to be your 3-6 points. But throwing in teams like Rangers and potentially Celtic,
Marseille, I would say,
not because they're any good at football, but because of just imagine going away to Rangers for a Champions League night. I can't imagine that Napoli are going to be too happy about that.
Well, I don't think Club Brugge are going to be particularly a walkover. I've heard of these teams. I mean, admittedly, I haven't heard of Victoria Pilsen.
And they've been put in the worst group as well.
Yes. But it's interesting that sort of usually the bottom team in each group nobody's heard of. Yeah, that's your school under 11s. But that game, I mean, Liverpool, Ajax and Napoli, they're not walkovers. That's interesting. Group B is poor. Let's say, come on then. Liverpool, Ajax, Napoli, or Rangers. Give me the two.
Liverpool and Ajax.
Okay. Now it's easy to pick the top two, Kieran. So just to mention,
but Napoli have lost a few of their main stars in recent years.
I mean, I think Group B you can pick two as well, and that's Porto, Atletico Madrid, Bayer, Leverkusen, and Club Brugge. Well, to be honest, I think you got three in there that can get in.
Yeah, because there's always like a couple of surprises. There's always a couple of the third seeds who get through.
Well, you only need Athletic Madrid to beat Porto twice, and then Porto are in trouble.
I mean, it's very easy for one of those two to drop points against Club Brugge. Bayer Leverkusen could. I mean, Porto and Atletico aren't brilliant enough teams for the other two teams to be walkovers. So I would say you'd imagine Atletico and potentially Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, I think Porto are going to have trouble in there. Group C is a fascinating group. I mean, this could be the finals with three of those teams in the final. Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Inter Milan, and Victoria Pizan. I mean, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and Inter Milan in one group, and only two of them are going to make it out into the knockout stage.
I think Bayern are too good.
So do I.
And depending on what Barcelona's form is this season, because they have fought well, despite it not being potentially very moral. But Inter are a half decent team. But I back Barcelona, I think, just because I don't think Lukaku's very good.
So it's all based on Lukaku.
Yeah.
Group D, can you read them out for me? Because I'll have trouble with the top one.
Eintracht Frankfurt.
That's the one. Right,
Tottenham, Sporting Lisbon, and Marseille.
So you got to say Tottenham are in the weak one, aren't they?
Oh, Spurs are massive.
They're lucky. They've ended up in the easy group to get out of. If they don't get out of that, well, they couldn't have had anything easier.
I'd imagine that the Sporting Lisbon would probably get through. Because Frankfurt won the Europa League, hence why they were top seeds. But they're not actually that good, I don't think. I'd say Sporting Lisbon.
Okay. Group E, AC Milan, Chelsea, RB Salzburg, and Dynamo Zagreb.
That one's probably a little bit easier to predict. AC Milan have won Serie A last season, and Chelsea will beat the other two.
Yeah.
I don't think there's too much.
Then Group F is, Real Madrid, RB Leipzig,
Here we go.
Shakhtar Donetsk. Yeah, I've heard of them. I just can't say it. And Celtic. I mean, good luck picking. I mean, Real Madrid, yes. Out of the other three, I reckon that's anybody's.
Yeah, it could be any of them. I'd even back Celtic to an extent.
It's going to be on the night.
Yeah.
Is what that one's going to be.
I actually kind of hope Celtic do it. I think it'd be entertaining.
I hope Celtic do it and Rangers do it and they end up playing each other.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. As long as you've got a decent police force. Group G is Manchester City, Seville,
Borussia Dortmund,
and Copenhagen.
City once again given quite an easy group.
Well,
nice of them.
I think that again you got to say City through Dortmund. Group H. This I think is not as I find this one difficult to pick out of the three. There's four: Paris Saint-Germain, Juventus, Benfica, and I'm not even going to try that.
Maccabi Haifa.
Well, let's take it they're the team that everybody beats.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Benfica could beat either of those on the night.
Juventus have looked rubbish for a couple of years now. I'd probably say PSG and Benfica.
But that's good stuff in there. And I think the shame of it is that I think this year it's almost going to fade into the background and not be as important, because by the time that's turning up, everybody's on the World Cup.
Yeah.
Champions League, Liverpool win it this year and it won't matter. Nobody will care. In fact, that'd be the funny part. This is where Manchester City win it and nobody knows.
Well, nobody, even if they did win it in a year that mattered, no one would care.
No, that's true. Okay. Quick question, and then we'll talk about the games this week in the Premier League. Quick question. Why is everybody buying 30-plus-year-old players this year? I thought that was a no-no.
Are you asking me as a question?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I think I know.
I think there are less younger players who are proven.
I mean, I can read the list out if you want. But, I mean, you got.
There's been Casemiro,
Eriksen,
Lewandowski. I suppose Liverpool bought Thiago in recent years. United have bought hundreds of 30-plus-year-olds, haven't they?
Yeah.
Ronaldo, one of the more recent ones. Chelsea went for Koulibaly, who's 30 plus, and spent a lot of money on him as well.
Yeah.
Arsenal haven't.
No.
Which is, I suppose, kind of interesting because they've gone for young players again. But I mean, it's worked for them so far. They've still got 100% records. That's probably it. Spurs haven't. Oh, no, Spurs have. They've got Perisic this summer, who was 33, 34, something like that.
Yeah. Have a read of that while I'm chatting.
Different.
You name a few as on.
The ones I've said, and then you've also got Messi was a year or two ago. Newcastle signing Trippier, Coutinho as well. So there are ones about.
Yeah, you see, I haven't read that, I might add. I just sort of saw the headline and thought, oh, that's strange. And that's only opinion anyway as to why. And I wonder, I don't know what it says. I'm going to guess that one of the answers is everybody wants instant rather than growing. You see, we did discuss Arsenal last year about the team growing, and he's building it. And that's true. The number of games or improvements as the time is going, he's winning more and more as time goes on. That team is improving, Arsenal's team, as he creates the team out of young people. The other teams are bung them in there, we want instant.
Yeah.
And that tends to be then you want people that have done it and are going to be older. But is that safe? Do you think that's a bad choice?
I
mean, Wycombe sort of do it, don't they?
I mean, I'd say it's fine, but it gives you a consistent problem pretty much each year because you're going to have an extra player who's going to be in amongst retiring, having a lot of injuries each year, which is why most teams go spend their big money on 25 to 27-year-olds because what their injury records like. You're going to have them for a good 5 or 6 year period at the very least. But I mean, United are the prime example in spending a lot of money on players who are proven but are old as well. They spent 70 million on Casemiro, which was one of the places they needed a player.
Instant.
In terms of his defensive duties, yes, which actually might be enough for them. Because I don't think I don't think he's very good in terms of a passing or an attacking sense. But you'd rely on Ericsson and Bruno Fernandes for that. So he might get away with not being very good on the ball. So it's peculiar. It's definitely happening a lot more in recent years that there's been big money spent on players.
Well, look, I'm going to look that up actually. Find out which teams spend on older players. I'd be interested to know whether it's the big teams that can't wait and got to stay there, or whether it's the little teams like Wycombe who buy them cheap because they have experience.
And Chelsea, not Chelsea, something United have just spent 100 million on that Ajax.
Yeah.
So I mean, saying anything from them is get anything from you.
Yeah. A friend of mine asked me, because I get fed up and bored of listening to Alan Shearer having a good joke about how he scored more goals than everybody else in the Premier League. And he said to me, how many of those are penalties? Would he be top goal scorer in the Premier League if you take penalties away? Who would be? So I looked it up. Okay. The sad thing is, anyway, we'll start with the 5 top goal scorers in the Premier League without penalties. I'll still give you the penalties. But Harry Kane comes in 5th. He scored 155. But after today, I might add that's 157 plus 20. Well, actually, that puts him above Aguero now. So, right, 5th is Aguero with 157 plus 27 penalties. 4th is Kane with 157 plus 28 penalties. 3rd is Rooney with 185 plus 23 penalties. 2nd is Cole. That one came in as a bit of a shock, with 186 plus 1 penalty. And I'm afraid, still at number 1, Alan Shearer with 205 plus 55 penalties. And question, will Kane beat Rooney? He's got to score another 28. And
definitely. He'll probably beat Shearer, to be honest with you.
I wonder, because we're talking about age. He's 29.
Yeah.
Will he last out?
He's still got 5 years in which he'll be Tottenham's main striker. I would have thought he'll be fine.
Yeah. I wondered whether he'd be off to Rooney's team in America in a year or 2.
Not that soon, no. He's not old enough. And he hasn't won anything, and he'll be begging to win something before moving to America to retire.
And will he play for England as number 9?
At the World Cup? Yeah, of course he will.
We don't have anybody else, do we?
Not really.
We got no choice.
Who was there the other? Callum Wilson was like, I want to get to the World Cup and play for England at the World Cup. Yeah, good luck. Not that I don't think he's very good, but him being the number 9 for England at a World Cup would be a bit like for someone else.
Okay, a quick go through. I don't know how long we've been going, probably too long. Got to mention a couple of games from yesterday. I want to start with Arsenal, because Arsenal are sitting top of the league. Doesn't happen very often. I have a soft spot for Arsenal. My granddad told me when I was a little boy, he was a West Ham fan, and he told me I had to pick a team to support. And he said to me, you want to pick a London team because they're nearest. So he told me who to pick. well, not who to pick, but which London teams like had a choice. Very kind of him. And Arsenal at the time, when he said this, were being fairly successful in 1970. And so, as everybody does, you pick the team doing well. You don't pick the team at the bottom unless you're now a Manchester United fan who's very young. And anyway, so I picked Arsenal. So I've had a soft spot for Arsenal. The only reason I'm bothered about Liverpool is really because you crying gets on your nerves. So I need Liverpool to do all right. So Arsenal, Odegaard,
Yeah.
isn't he brilliant? Why doesn't he get talked about more? I don't understand. Well, he's never in the papers. It's always bloody Haaland or whatever, and this, that, and the other. And you hear about Pogba. Everybody knows about Pogba, and he was crap. But this guy is excellent. Why do people not talk about him?
He doesn't score a hat-trick.
Because he don't score hat-trick. But he's a midfielder.
Yeah.
Creates them all. He was brilliant yesterday. He was really good. Arsenal are really impressing me this year. And I think if somebody's going to trip anybody up, it's going to be them this year. They're going to surprise people, I think. And I reckon they're going to be in the top two.
Behind.
Or in front
You
of
think
City.
you'll be lucky. If Arsenal go 2-0 down at home to Crystal Palace, they lose. But City should just steamroll them. Unfortunately, you just can't beat City. It's just annoying.
Okay, that's okay.
I went to the festival yesterday thinking that City has lost 2-0 and they ended up winning 4-2 when I found out at 12 o'clock. I was fuming.
Yes. And okay, so that's that game. Arsenal thought brilliant, unbelievable. Liverpool. Right, we've got to mention Liverpool. What's wrong with Mo?
There was nothing wrong with him.
He didn't score.
So? We still scored 9.
400,000 a week. And you have to rely on the opposition to put in an own goal.
He got
and rely on 6 of your other players to. I mean, the only one that didn't score in the team, apart from Mo, was your goalkeeper.
He's still got 4 of the key passes, like the pre-assists. Not that they count towards anything, but we'll win 3-0 at some point, and he'll score all of them.
I mean, he can smile all he likes, but flip me, you win 9-0 and he had nothing to do with it. Dear, oh dear.
We said Firmino was crap, and he got 2 goals and 3 assists.
Yeah, that's true. And that's true. How bad are Bournemouth?
I thought they were supposed to be all right. Apparently not. Maybe they just. I mean, some teams have always in the past just hit Liverpool on the wrong days and they get absolutely battered. Because every other manager always speaks very highly of Scott Parker, don't they?
He's got his. Yeah.
And I doubt he was actually. I think the scoreline probably floored us a little bit in that we scored half our shots, which never normally happens.
No, I noticed it was only 19 shots.
Yeah.
And normally it's 25 and you win 2-0.
Yeah. So I think we just had a good day. I don't think the goalkeeper I thought was a little bit suspect, actually.
Yes. I noticed he did a lot of diving after the ball had gone into the net. If you watch.
Yeah.
He pretty spectacular, but it had already crossed the line.
I'm trying to think how many of them he could have done something about. There was the one in the second half that he kind of drops in front of Firmino. I think there was at least one in the first half. Arguably, he could have saved Trent's. Trent's wasn't in the corner, and it was very far out. But not to say we still wouldn't have smashed them. So happy considering after how I was feeling on Monday.
Yeah, they were gonna do that, weren't
Of
they?
course they were.
They weren't gonna.
It
I
was,
mean, all the sort of chit chat about what's wrong with them this year. Yes, they've got a lot of injuries, but if they face somebody a little bit on the,
still smack them.
to still smack them. Yeah. Brighton 1, Leeds 0. Felt a bit sorry for Leeds. I watched this and Brighton were a little bit suspect. They were very similar to last time. You remember the whole problem of attack, shoot, but never finish. They couldn't score a goal with all the that was a bit like this. They might have won 1-0, but they should have won a little bit more than that. They could not score a goal to save their life. And eventually, finally, it went in after 66 minutes. But
he looks very good, gross though, doesn't he?
He does. He does. I like him. I think they've got somebody again, haven't they?
Mm.
Where did he pick him up from?
Oh, not from here.
No.
I can't remember.
Yeah, he was good. And that manager has got to be England's manager, isn't he?
Very potentially, yeah.
And we should get hold of him before a big club picks him up.
I mean, it's evident that the FA don't hire people based on their previous, of course, their previous potential achievements, but you don't have to have done a lot. It's not like Southgate was a world beater.
No, he wasn't. No, I don't know what he'd done. He obviously paid somebody off.
He was under 21s, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he very well could be.
And we're talking about managers. I was just going to say about Sunderland. The two favourites for the Sunderland job are Mowbray and Dyche. Nice. My goodness, I bet Sunderland fans are not happy. What? I wouldn't want either of them, would you?
I don't mind Dyche. Their football obviously is not very good though. I don't mind him as a person.
No, not as a person, but you're not employing him to be your sort of,
your mate.
Your mate. You're employing him to run a football team, and you've got to go and watch. The last of the long ball managers. Manchester United won away at Southampton 0. Any shock? Not really.
No, the goal was very good. Very,
very equal, the two, I might say. Little bit lucky to get away with that one, I thought. Are they back?
No,
I don't think so. I think the Liverpool game was a one-off, and I think that was a one-off, and they won that on.
Well, what was it? Not the parades beforehand. Parade? You know when they have a go at like the owners and stuff.
Yeah.
I think like the United fans were evidently very hyped up, and so were the United players, and the Liverpool players weren't, and so they destroyed them.
They come on there and beat the hell out of them, yeah. And of course, to beat Southampton, especially if you look at the figures, it was no big deal. They did not go on there and beat them. They went on there and happened to get the goal was more of the case. So I think be a little bit careful. I read a whole piece on comments by managers, executives, owners, without using names. They interviewed Premier League people and didn't use their name and asked them what did they think of Manchester United and the trouble they're in. And it went from everything from it's falling apart, the stadium, with no money spent, it leaks, etc. It feels old. Even when the executives go in for a meal before the game, they're eating the same type of food they ate 35 years ago. Nothing wrong with the cooking. It's just old.
Not evolved.
Nothing's changed. It's old. And one guy said that when they phone up and they need to talk to somebody about buying players, They don't know who to talk to. There isn't a sort of an order of people in charge, and there's people with different titles, but they could all be doing the same thing, and they don't know that if you think I want to buy Ronaldo, and so you think I'll phone Manchester United, say Mr. Chelsea, and I pick up the phone, hi, I'm thinking about buying one of your players. Any idea who I talk to? Well, we don't really know. I'll see who's in, shall I? I mean, and so on. And there was this whole piece on the state of them, on how they buy players, how they sell players, who does what job, etc. I don't think it's sorted just yet, just because you beat Southampton 1-0. Warning.
Let's hope it stays that way.
I would like to see them actually get better. So I take the what's out of them because they annoy me, because they are one of the richest.
No, you taught me as a child to hate Manchester United, and now you're saying you want them to get better.
I think it'd be fun if they improved a bit. Don't want to win anything,
no,
but just to sort of be able to kick a bit of arse, sort of give Tottenham a bit of a go and Chelsea a bit of a go. Don't you think it'd be a bit more interesting with?
Maybe, but I still want them to lose.
Okay. I taught you.
You did.
How to hate Manchester United. It's not nice, is
it?
You
taught me to hate Wayne Rooney.
We're Christians. Should pray for them. Hate Wayne Rooney? No.
God's
laugh at Wayne Rooney. No, laugh with Wayne Rooney.
Of course.
Chelsea 2, Leicester 1. Oh dear, oh dear.
Standard.
Chelsea have got 2 great players, is the honest truth. And they stood out a mile yesterday.
Sterling and Thiago Silva.
I would have said James.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, they've picked up Silva, and they got Silva, and they got that other guy,
Correa.
Yeah, and that's it, I think. But it's great having James and Sterling in the Chelsea team working together for England.
No, because Trenton played.
Yeah, right. Leicester. Oh dear, what's happened to Leicester? Won't see them again, will we?
No.
Leicester are no more.
Not for a while.
No. Leicester are no more. Other ones we can talk about City. Who cares? Brentford 1, Everton 1. Oh dear.
£60 million man Anthony Gordon scored.
Yeah, good. He's good. He is good, but he looks that good in that team. I think big teams need to be a little bit careful in presuming that he'll win all the games for them. He's the sort of player United to look at and say, oh yeah, we'll have him.
100 mil.
And he won't be what they think.
He's no better than Harvey.
Exactly. But in that team, he looks the best. And he would do because the rest are so poor. That's about that for really. And today we had, Aston Villa. When's Gerrard getting the sack?
Probably quite soon, to be honest.
I think so. Who's your favourite for next? Gerrard?
I think it's supposed to be Brendan Rodgers, isn't it?
Is it?
Favourite.
Okay.
It's weird with Gerrard because at the beginning he came in and everyone flipping loved him because they went on like a 6-game winning streak.
Yeah.
And when I watch Villa, because I obviously love Gerrard, they always seem to have a fair decent number of chances. And you would have thought that Ings and Watkins would be players who would stick them in the net a decent number of times, but they don't. And then you watch some of the other players and they just don't perform very well. And you think at their level, you thought, oh, they'd be all right. But like I watched them against Palace, that was it. They lost 3-1. Dina at left back, like, because you hear good things about Dina, he was absolutely rubbish. And I guess some of it is Gerrard's fault, but some of it also tells me that it's not quite his fault. Because he's very happy with like the players he has. But some of them are just very inconsistent, I feel.
Well, he's got a bit of a problem because the next game is against Arsenal on Wednesday. Then he's got City. So
he might get away with those two, but he has to be.
Then he's got a run of 4.
But he has to win at least
3.
2 or 3.
He's got Leicester, Southampton, Leeds, and Nottingham Forest. Because he's actually lost to West Ham, Crystal Palace. He beat Everton. I say he, but he lost to Bournemouth.
Yeah, that's not a good one.
I mean, that's so.
But another thing I would also potentially say is that it's very difficult to win in football. There aren't many teams who are successful, and I think.
Well, when we look at managers, how well they do, you're looking at a successful manager in a 40% win rate.
Yeah, which isn't high.
No. You win less games than half.
And I think Aston Villa fans are under the assumption that they should be top 8, and they're not going to be.
No.
They're just not. Well, West Ham, it's taken them how many years to kind of break into that top 8? And now they're not even there. And they look a bit ropey. So, like, look at the number of big teams there are in this country. It's so difficult to be successful, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, if you remove the Manchester City and Liverpool thing, your big teams are Arsenal, Chelsea, now Newcastle. You've got to put in Manchester United in that, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So there's big teams in there, and to get into that group, I mean, if we look at the table, I mean, Leicester are sat at the bottom, and Wolves, Everton, and then you come across your first team up, which was Bournemouth, if we're going from bottom up, then West Ham, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, Southampton, Crystal Palace, Fulham, and no shocks in there.
That is where Villa kind of belong.
15th.
Yeah, it's kind of just.
I'd put them at maybe 12th, but not be any big deal. I mean, you know, they're only 1 point behind the team in 12th. I mean, I don't know what you're expecting, really. Are they expecting 8th or something? Maybe I mean, that would be incredibly successful. But who are your favourites to go down even after 4 matches? Then you've watched them. We've watched these teams.
Everton will get out of it. They'll be fine.
Really?
Yeah. So will Wolves and so will Leicester.
I think Wolves will.
They're just lucky. I think.
Yeah.
They should have won today. Bournemouth will go. Well, listen. Southampton, I reckon, might. And Forest, Bournemouth, and Southampton.
I would have started.
Fulham have kind of surprised me with their start, which is why I may back them to do okay.
Well, they've scored 6 goals, which is their plus. I mean, that was Forest's 2. I mean, that's not great. 2 goals in 4 games. No. That's a bit lacking there. I was looking at Bournemouth. They've only scored 2 goals. The trouble with Bournemouth is they've let 16 in. They've got a minus 14 on their goal difference. Yeah. I wonder where that came from. But it would have been minus 5 without it, to be honest. Minus 7 without it. Yeah, of course. And
no, you are right.
Yeah. But you would have beaten them by 1, so it would be a bit more, so minus 6. So they would have still had the worst, even without the Liverpool goals. I think that, yeah, it's a shame, but Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest, and we just got to hope Fulham could keep going.
Best goal difference. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? We've won one game and we have the joint top goal difference. That'll do.
Yeah, that'll do. So you're only 1 point behind United, so you know the couple of surprises up there. Is it? No, Brighton isn't a surprise to be up there. They're a good team and they're improved. They are your Leicester, I think, from the last few years. Brighton, Leeds up there in 5th. That won't last. Sorry, Leeds fans, don't get excited. That won't last. Okay, we'll go now. We'll say goodbye, and Kieran, say goodbye, and I'll say goodbye. Goodbye.